Hello, hello. I'm Bentley with WBFO The Bridge. Very excited to tell you about something I know you're going to be excited about, the LaunchPad MakerSpace at the Buffalo Erie County Public Library. And I have Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz here to tell you about that because this is how I learned about this exciting space.
Yes, this is an incredible asset that the library has. First off, I'm very pleased to be here with you, Bentley, and Jordan Smith from the library to talk a lot more about the MakerSpace. A lot of people think when they come to the library, they're just going to come take out books. But for decades and decades, the library's offered so much more. In the old times that I used to remember, you could come and actually take out records. Then you could take out CDs. Now it's a whole nother level at the MakerSpace where there's 3D printing, other options, and you can record your own music. And it's free. It's available to our residents. It is an incredible feature. They have instruments here. I picked up one of the Fender Square Telecaster models, so I was just noodling around on it. But if you want to record music, but you don't have the capability because you don't have the software or the laptop at home, you can do that here. They have keyboards. They have drums. It's amazing what they have, and it's all free for our residents.
And this is an impressive space. Now, I knew about the instrument part. I did not know about the recording and video studio. And you even have your own professional to help you out. Jordan Smith, you're in charge of all of this. So how does this work? We know how to take books out of the library. We've figured that out. But musical instruments, how does that work and how does the space work?
So it is an all-ages space. Anyone can come in. It's free to use. The recording studios themselves do require that you have a library card or a state ID so we can have some kind of check-in process for responsibility, obviously. But other than that, it's free to use. We don't require that you take any trainings or anything, although we do offer trainings for people who have never used recording software or used cameras or lighting equipment before. So we can walk people through like the basic music production process or video editing process or photoshopping or just taking like portraits and stuff like that.
And Jordan, your background, I heard you have some background in radio and things like that. So what brought you here to do this and how can you help people?
Yeah, so I actually went to school for audio radio production in Fredonia. I worked in radio for a few years, and I played in bands and stuff throughout that time. And then I ended up going to library school because I really felt like I wanted a job where on a daily basis I was able to offer access and help to people and go home feeling positive about what I did at work. It was helpful to the world. And so I ended up working at the library. I worked upstairs in our techno lab doing computer training for a couple years. And then when we started to research what kind of extracurricular technology that we could offer the public, it made sense that a lot of the offerings could involve musical and video production equipment because of the skill sets that some of the staffing here, including me, offer.
That is great. And now, Mark, I know you have a music background, a wealth of music knowledge. I would not want to face you in music trivia at all. So how did you get brought into this, and what made you help to identify the need for this in the community?
Well, when the library decided to move ahead with this, they discussed it with us initially because the county provides substantial funding. Not only are the tax dollars from property taxes going to the library, but at different occasions the county provides additional dollars. And Erie County owns this building. This building is owned by the people of Erie County. We maintain it. We're doing a $2 million project this year to replace the roof. So when people complain about how expensive their roofs aren't $2 million. This roof is very expensive. But one of the keys is, considering we like to think of as libraries as kind of the heart and soul of our communities, is that everyone has an opportunity to enjoy the library. As I said, it's not your grandparents' or your parents' library anymore. There's so many features that are available here. Even if you never touched a book, and we certainly hope that people will touch the books and take them out, but even if you didn't, there's so much here you can learn from. And so for the MakerSpace, the idea was generated by the library. They invested it. They had sponsors that actually contributed dollars to make donations so they could purchase the equipment. And it just gives many other people an opportunity to take advantage of the library's services. The one thing we've noticed over time is that, as we said, libraries change. They have to change with times. And for many people, they come in here for internet access. They may not have internet access home. They may not have a computer, so they come here for internet access. And along the way, they may want to do a podcast. You can record podcasts here. So even if you don't have any musical skills whatsoever and you're not learning them, you can still use the MakerSpace space to record a podcast and put it online. And it's just another feature that is offered to the citizens of our community so that everyone has an opportunity to not only educate themselves, but to grow.
And this started right before the pandemic. Am I correct with that? Not long before, but you had to kind of weather the pandemic during this, right?
We've actually been here for almost 8 years now. So we had like a solid lead up to the pandemic, but the pandemic was a substantial hurdle, obviously.
And the irony in that is I think a lot of people needed music during that time and needed that connection. And I know you turned to music a lot during that time. You have a stressful job. Being an elected official has some challenges, especially over the last few years. What has music meant to you in your life and handling your everyday life?
Well, music is a nice stress relief, especially at the end of the night, whether I pick up the guitar or I'm not a very good pianist, but I know the chords on the piano, so I'll go and I'll try to play a song. And it's just a release. And for me, I used to be in bands years ago. It's just cool to get out there and just do something where I'm not county executive. I'm just Mark. And whether it's playing at home for myself, doing a recording and putting it on YouTube, which I'm still shocked people like. I find that hard to believe, but some people do. It's just a nice way of saying, the day's done. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to pick up the guitar. I'm going to play the piano. Whatever comes out, comes out. And hopefully re-energize as a result of it. It is a stressful job, and we've had a very, very tough year as a community recently. So what we can do to overcome that in any way possible is great, and music is a perfect example of it because it crosses all genres. People are like, hey, I didn't know you played the guitar. Hey, I didn't know you messed around on the piano. And they see a different view of the person, but they don't see you as the elected official. It's like, oh, that's Mark. He plays the guitar. And so many people enjoy music for varying ways, but I think we all can look at it as a way of bringing people together, especially at difficult times, including in our country where we got a lot of animosity going on. There's still folks who are like, well, I don't agree with you politically, but I like the same music as you do, and that's a cool thing. So music is a way of bringing us together as it has for, truthfully, millennia. Yeah. And it's a way that we can also bridge differences, but also for me and others, it's a great stress relief.
With the ability to join people together and also offer a stress relief, Jordan, can you assure us that all different levels are welcome? Because I am not a musician, but maybe I want to come and pick up the guitar or, play around on the keyboard.
Yeah, so we, specifically for the instruments, we actually have a kid's Fender guitar, which is a shorter scale, so if you got a tiny little hand, it's a great learning instrument, and we have kids that come in on the weekends and fiddle or come in after school to get a little practice in before they take the bus home. And then we have adults that come in on their lunch break and just like Mark, just come in, get a little bit of a break on their lunch and get a little relief by strumming a little bit and then going home. And then for some of the electronic instruments, a lot of that stuff is has a pretty good learning curve to it, and so a lot of people are not going to invest money in these instruments at home because it doesn't make sense as a learning tool for them. But here they can come, spend as much time as they need or want on it, and we're here to answer any questions, or we can even book a one-on-one appointment with them to walk them through the basic process of programming a drum machine or patching a synthesizer.
This is a really great space. I'm just glad we know more about it now, and I'm glad that you have put yourself out there on social media because I would not have known about it if you didn't. I know it can be it can be a divisive thing sometimes, but I'm glad you did that. And I know something else that could be very divisive right now, but it's supposed to join us together. Some of your favorite bands, or is it hard to?
Well, I have a pretty eclectic music mix. I grew up a Beatles fan, a lot of '90s rock, 80s rock. I'm actually happy Peter Gabriel's coming to town. I already got my tickets for Peter Gabriel. I saw him back in whatever it was, 1988, the University of Buffalo, and it was one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. I was a big Police fan, Oasis, band, New Order, bands like that. But I also like Johnny Cash. I like John Coltrane, Dizzy Gillespie, older jazz. So for me, it's whatever the mood is. And I have actually, back home, I have a pretty decent, though rarely played anymore, CD collection of classical. Because there was a time when I just needed to just put something on the background. And these were the days before you could just stream whatever you wanted and get it off the internet. If you either had it in your collection or you listened for it on the radio, but you didn't have much of any other choice of getting it except at the library. So for me, it's I listen to everything. My satellite radio, which I do have, I listen to the Bridge, and then I also listen to other stations that are cued into like U2 and 80s and 90s rock, Brit rock. I'll listen to anything. I won't always necessarily enjoy it, but I'll listen to it.
We understand there are multiple options. It's okay. We are all inclusive. What do you say to people that might not understand initiatives like this?
You know, there's too many people that complain about my tax dollars at work are in ways I don't like. I'm like, well, that's fine. Other people like them. And we represent all the citizens of our community, not just taxpayers. We represent the youngest baby that was just born who may need protection from an abusive adult. We represent the oldest adult in our community who may need to have assistance to put food on the table. Just because someone's not a taxpayer doesn't mean we don't represent them. They're our constituents. And for anybody who criticizes this, I think they just need to look in the mirror and realize this is an incredible asset for our community. Who knows who comes out of this? There's someone who may become a very famous musician someday that got their start here at the library producing their own music, or someone who has a very famous podcast. 3D printing, there's great STEM technology here, science, technology, engineering and math, and you can 3D print, and maybe someone who eventually comes up with an incredible heart device was first playing around in the 3D printer here. So for those who criticize it, which I hope are few and far between, there's always critics out there. But for those who do, I think they just need to realize that in a community as diverse as ours, we have to have options for everyone. And maybe you don't like it, but that's fine. There's a lot of things that that person probably likes that other people don't. But we need to offer for everyone so that we have as strong and enriched community as possible.
And I find in my life that as we go back, come full circle, that everybody experiences music in different ways, but you'd be surprised at the people that it will bring together. So this is a great initiative. And I guess I meant to say people who don't understand. That's probably been a better word. Well, thank you, both of you. I hope you know that this is just the start of a relationship, because I know a lot of people that are probably going to start using this space. I may be one of them. And I think we could partner on some things. But, Jordan, now that I know that you know so much, you're gonna be hearing from us. And Mark, the off the camera conversations about music, I think you might need to host a show sometime.
Maybe. You can do that. I have a lot of useless information in my head.
That's what we're all about. That's why I have a job.
All right.
So, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Jordan.